Imagine this. You're a kid in the late 90s, sitting cross-legged on the floor with a bowl of cereal. The TV flickers on, and suddenly, you're greeted by a cow, walking on two legs. Next to her, her brother, a chicken, who's somehow smaller than the family's pet. Within minutes, they're being chased by a red, devil-like creature with no pants. Sounds absurd, right? Almost like a fever dream. Yet somehow, you couldn't stop watching. In fact, Cow and Chicken became one of Cartoon Network's most bizarre yet beloved shows. But here's the question. Why did this twisted, sometimes disturbing cartoon feel so addictive to watch, especially as kids? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden details, psychological tricks, and unsettling layers of Cow and Chicken. And trust me, the more you look at it, the stranger it gets. What was Cow and Chicken? At first glance, Cow and Chicken looks like simple slapstick. Two siblings. Cow, the overly innocent, sensitive, and oddly mature younger sister, and Chicken, the sarcastic, jaded older brother, navigating the world together. But the catch? Their parents were literally just legs. No upper body, no faces, just a pair of pants walking around like it was completely normal.
You gave your mom quite a scare there.
Sorry, Dad.
Bathrooms are not to be feared, son. There's nothing wrong about wanting to go into the girls' bathroom.
And then, of course, there was the red guy, a bizarre, overly dramatic, pantless devil figure who constantly harassed the siblings in ridiculous schemes.
Hello, it's me! Should you be scared? Oh yes, very. Why you say? 'Cause I'm a copy fairy!
To kids, this was hilarious nonsense. But rewatching as adults, it's dark, unsettling, and way deeper than we realized. Why we loved the absurd. Here's the crazy part. Psychologists have a word for why shows like Cow and Chicken hooked us. It's called benign violation theory. Basically, our brains enjoy things that break the rules, but in a safe, non-threatening way. Think about it. A devil-like character running around with no pants would be horrifying in a movie, but slap it in a brightly colored cartoon with wacky sound effects? Suddenly, it's funny.
What's so funny, you little... Ah, right! Who beat me in the melon? Cow! Chicken! Extra homework!
Our brains get this weird rush from the contradiction. And then, there's the character archetypes. Cow fits the innocent child archetype, pure-hearted, sweet, always trying to see the best in others. Chicken embodies the cynical realist, skeptical, sarcastic, constantly annoyed by the chaos around him. The red guy is the trickster, chaotic, mischievous, never bound by rules. Put them together and you get this psychological playground. Innocence versus cynicism, order versus chaos, normalcy versus the absurd. That's why kids found it endlessly funny, while adults now see deeper, unsettling undertones. Let's peel back the sugar coating. Cow and Chicken was often disturbingly adult once you really looked. First, the parents, or rather, the legs. By removing their upper halves, the show made them faceless, voiceless authority figures. It's almost a metaphor for how kids see parents, just rule givers who walk in and out of your life without fully understanding their world. Creepy, right? Then, there's the red guy. Looking back, his antics weren't just silly, they were deeply unsettling. He constantly tricked, manipulated, and even humiliated the siblings. Sometimes, his behavior leaned into very adult humor that went way over kids' heads. And let's not forget the infamous Buffalo Gals episode, banned for its not-so-subtle adult references. Cartoon Network literally had to pull it because it went too far. But here's the thing. As kids, we didn't notice. Our brains filtered out the disturbing undertones and just focused on the silliness. As adults, we see the shadow side, and it's almost hard to believe this aired on daytime TV. It wasn't alone. Here's something fascinating. Cow and Chicken wasn't an accident. It was part of a larger trend in the 90s, cartoons that mixed absurdity with darkness. Take Ren and Stimpy. That show thrived on grotesque humor, over-the-top violence, and surreal storytelling. Or Courage the Cowardly Dog, which wrapped horror themes in a cute dog saves the day package. But Cow and Chicken had its own unique flavor. It pushed absurdism to the extreme, sometimes even more surreal than Ed, Edd n Eddy. The difference? Where other shows leaned into horror or satire, Cow and Chicken lived in pure, chaotic nonsense. And that nonsense was the point. For kids, it was liberating. Here was a world where rules didn't matter, where gravity bent, and where even the devil could slip on a banana peel. So why exactly did this chaos resonate so deeply with us? And more importantly, what life lessons, hidden beneath the fart jokes and screaming cows, can we actually take away from this fever dream cartoon? Because here's the real twist. Cow and Chicken wasn't just nonsense. It was a mirror, reflecting childhood fears, family dynamics, and even the psychology of growing up. And in part 2, we're diving straight into that. The hidden life lessons, the deeper psychology, and why you love this show so much more than you realized. Why chaos felt so good. Think back to childhood for a moment. Life was full of rules. Bedtime at 9, eat your vegetables, finish your homework. Everything was structured. Now, enter Cow and Chicken, a show where rules collapsed into dust. Gravity didn't matter, logic didn't matter. Even adults weren't really there, just a pair of legs issuing orders. To a kid, this was oddly comforting. It was like the cartoon was whispering, "Hey, it's okay to laugh at the nonsense. You don't have to follow the rules all the time." Psychologists call this cognitive relief. Kids, overwhelmed by the rules of school and family, find escape in pure chaos. And Cow and Chicken provided exactly that, wrapped in colors, jokes, and screaming sound effects. But that same chaos also left us uneasy. Watching as adults, you realize it's not just comedy. It's surreal, it's grotesque, and sometimes it feels like a parody of real life. The shadow side of the red guy.
Hello, it's me, your drill sergeant! Welcome to your new home.
Let's talk more about the red guy, because he deserves a closer look. He wasn't just comic relief, he was something darker. Think of him as the trickster archetype, but twisted. Unlike Bugs Bunny, who uses cleverness to turn the tables, the red guy thrives on tormenting others. He represents authority gone wrong, a figure who uses power, manipulation, and humiliation for his own amusement. In some ways, he's the dark reflection of adulthood. As kids, authority figures seemed confusing, frustrating, even unfair. The red guy embodied those fears, but exaggerated them into absurdity. And here's the unsettling part. You almost liked him. His over-the-top antics were hilarious, even when he was being cruel. That duality, finding humor in something dark, is what made him so memorable. It's also why adults rewatching today sometimes shudder. Hidden themes: family, identity, and outsiders. Beneath the slapstick, Cow and Chicken had recurring themes that were surprisingly deep. The faceless parents weren't just a gag. They symbolized how kids often view adults: distant, mysterious, and incomprehensible. It's almost a child's eye view of authority. Cow and Chicken never truly fit in. They were oddballs, constantly ridiculed or tricked by the world around them. Yet they stuck together. That bond made kids watching feel less alone in their own weirdness. Cow, with her oversized body and innocent heart, often felt like an exaggerated metaphor for growing up. Too big for her world, but still desperately clinging to childlike innocence. These weren't accidents. Cartoons often sneak in themes that resonate subconsciously with kids. Cow and Chicken disguised real fears of growing up, of not fitting in, of facing authority, under layers of absurd humor. Pop culture comparisons. Here's where Cow and Chicken stands out. Unlike Dexter's Laboratory or the Powerpuff Girls, which gave kids clear heroes, Cow and Chicken thrived in confusion. It didn't promise safety. It promised absurdity. It was closer to Ren and Stimpy or Beavis and Butthead, shows that blended grotesque comedy with satire. But unlike those, Cow and Chicken was aimed squarely at kids. That contradiction made it unforgettable. And here's something crazy. Even today, the surreal style of Cow and Chicken feels relevant. You can see echoes of it in shows like Adventure Time or Rick and Morty, where absurdism hides surprisingly deep truths. Life lessons. So, what can we actually learn from this fever dream of a show? Embrace the absurd. Life doesn't always make sense. And sometimes the best way to cope is to laugh at the nonsense. Cow and Chicken taught us that chaos can be funny, not just scary. 2. Family matters, even when it's weird. Despite everything, Cow and Chicken always had each other's backs. Their sibling bond was stronger than the nonsense around them. 3. Authority isn't always right. The red guy showed us that power can be ridiculous, unfair, or even cruel. But laughing at him gave kids a sense of control. 4. Weirdness is a strength. Cow was awkward, oversized, emotional, and unforgettable. Chicken was cynical and grumpy, but relatable. Together, they proved you don't have to fit the mold to matter. These weren't lessons spelled out in dialogue. They were hidden in the chaos, waiting for our older selves to notice. Why you still remember? Here's the truth. Cow and Chicken was disturbing, weird, even uncomfortable at times. But that's exactly why you loved it. It was unpredictable. It made you laugh at things you didn't understand yet, and years later, you realize it wasn't just a cartoon. It was a mirror. It reflected the confusion of childhood, the strangeness of family, and the unsettling way the world doesn't always make sense.
I'm not red, I'm chicken, and I gotta be home by 8 or I'm in big trouble.
So next time you remember Cow tripping over her own hooves, Chicken rolling his eyes, or the red guy running around without pants, think about why it stuck with you. It wasn't just entertainment. It was your first taste of absurdism, comedy, and maybe even philosophy. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all. Sometimes the weirdest things shape us the most. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. What's the weirdest moment from Cow and Chicken you still remember? Because chances are, if it's stuck in your head, there's a reason. And who knows, maybe those weird, disturbing cartoons were teaching us more than we ever realized.
Hello, it's me, the warden.